This is the history of the entire world, not just human history. Everything, from the beginning of time to right now, in one story. So let's go. And we have to start at the beginning. 13.8 billion years ago, there was nothing. No space, no time, no light, no matter. Then, for reasons we still do not understand, everything exploded into existence. This is called the Big Bang. It was not an explosion in space. It was an explosion of space. All the energy and matter in the universe, all the galaxies, all the stars, all the planets, everything that would ever exist was crammed into a point smaller than an atom. Then it expanded, faster than the speed of light. In less than a second, it went from smaller than an atom to bigger than a galaxy. At first, it was too hot for atoms to exist, just pure energy, a soup of particles. Then it cooled. After about 380,000 years, atoms formed, hydrogen and helium, the simplest elements. The universe was dark. No stars yet, just a fog of hydrogen. Then gravity started to pull. Hydrogen clumped together. Clouds collapsed. Friction heated them up, and the first stars ignited. That was about 100 million years after the Big Bang. Those first stars were monsters, hundreds of times bigger than our sun. They lived fast and died young, exploding as supernovae. And when they exploded, they made new elements: carbon, oxygen, iron, gold. Every atom in your body was made inside a dying star. You are literally made of stardust. Those explosions created galaxies. The Milky Way, our galaxy, formed about 13 billion years ago, a swirling disk of 100 billion stars. 4.6 billion years ago, in a quiet corner of the Milky Way, a cloud of gas and dust collapsed and formed our sun. Leftover dust around it clumped together and formed planets. Earth was born. At first, it was a ball of molten lava, constantly hit by asteroids. One of those asteroids was the size of Mars. It hit Earth so hard it melted the planet again and threw debris into orbit. That debris became our moon. That was 4.5 billion years ago. For the first 500 million years, Earth was hell. Volcanoes everywhere. No oxygen, no life. Just rock and lava and oceans of boiling water. Then, about 4 billion years ago, something amazing happened. In the oceans, tiny molecules figured out how to copy themselves. We do not know how, but the first life appeared. Simple, single-celled bacteria. No brain, no eyes, just a cell that could eat and divide. For 2 billion years, that was all there was, just slime. Earth was a slime planet. Then, 2.4 billion years ago, some bacteria learned a trick. Photosynthesis. They learned how to use sunlight to make food, and they released oxygen as waste. Oxygen was poison to most life at the time, but these bacteria pumped out so much oxygen that they changed the atmosphere. The sky turned blue. The oceans rusted, literally. Iron dissolved in the ocean reacted with oxygen and fell to the bottom, creating huge iron deposits we mine today. This was called the Great Oxygenation Event. It killed most life on Earth, but it made our life possible. For another 1.5 billion years, life stayed small. Then, about 1.5 billion years ago, cells learned to work together. They formed complex cells with a nucleus. Then, about 600 million years ago, they formed the first animals. Tiny, soft, jelly-like things in the ocean. No bones, no teeth. Then, 540 million years ago, evolution exploded. This is called the Cambrian explosion. In just 20 million years, almost every major group of animals appeared. Trilobites, worms, the first predators with eyes and teeth. Life got violent and fast. 470 million years ago, plants crawled onto land. They were the first life to live outside the ocean. They made soil, then animals followed. The first insects, the first forests. 360 million years ago, there were giant dragonflies with 2-foot wingspans because there was so much oxygen. 300 million years ago, reptiles appeared. They laid eggs on land and could live far from water. Some reptiles evolved into dinosaurs. 230 million years ago, dinosaurs appeared. At first, they were small, the size of dogs, but they survived mass extinctions that killed 90% of life, and they took over. For 165 million years, dinosaurs ruled Earth. Huge ones, tiny ones, flying ones, swimming ones. Tyrannosaurus rex, Brachiosaurus, Triceratops. While dinosaurs ruled, tiny mammals hid in the shadows, shrew-like creatures that were nocturnal and ate insects. They were our ancestors. Then, 66 million years ago, an asteroid 6 miles wide hit Earth near what is now Mexico. It hit at 40,000 miles per hour. It released energy equal to 10 billion atomic bombs. It set every forest on fire. It threw dust into the sky that blocked the sun for years. Plants died. Dinosaurs starved. 75% of all species on Earth died in a few months. The age of dinosaurs was over, but that extinction was our chance. With dinosaurs gone, mammals exploded. They got bigger, smarter, more diverse. 55 million years ago, primates appeared. Small tree-dwelling creatures with forward-facing eyes. 30 million years ago, monkeys appeared. 6 million years ago, the ape lineage split. One branch led to chimpanzees. The other led to us. 7 million years ago, our earliest ancestors stood up on 2 legs in Africa. Walking upright freed our hands to make tools. 4 million years ago, Australopithecus, like the famous Lucy, walked the savannah. 2.8 million years ago, the genus Homo appeared. Homo habilis, handyman, who made the first stone tools. 1.8 million years ago, Homo erectus appeared. They were the first humans to leave Africa. They spread to Europe and Asia. They controlled fire. Fire meant warmth, protection, and cooked food. Cooked food gave us more energy, so our brains grew bigger. 300,000 years ago, Homo sapiens appeared in Africa. Us. We had the same big brains as we do today, but we were not alone. There were Neanderthals in Europe, Denisovans in Asia, Homo floresiensis, the tiny hobbits in Indonesia. We lived alongside them for tens of thousands of years. Then we outlasted them. We are the last human species. For 290,000 years, we were hunters and gatherers. Small bands of 20 to 50 people, moving, hunting, telling stories around fires. We made art in caves. We invented language. We looked up at the same stars you look at. Then, 12,000 years ago, everything changed. The last ice age ended. The climate got warm and stable. Humans in the Middle East figured out how to farm. Wheat, barley, rice. Farming meant food surplus. Food surplus meant villages. Villages meant cities. This was the agricultural revolution. It was the biggest change in human history. We stopped wandering and started building. 6,000 years ago, the first civilizations appeared. Sumer in Iraq invented writing, the wheel, and cities. Egypt built pyramids that would last 5,000 years. The Indus Valley built plumbing. China invented paper and gunpowder. For 5,000 years, empires rose and fell. Assyrians, Persians, Greeks, Romans. In 500 BC, in Athens, a few men invented democracy, science, and theater. In 536 AD, a mysterious fog blocked the sun and half the world starved. In 800, Charlemagne united Europe. In 1100, Genghis Khan built the biggest land empire in history, stretching from Hungary to Korea. In 1347, the Black Death killed 1/3 of Europe. In 1492, Columbus sailed to America and started a global exchange that killed 90% of Native Americans from disease, but also connected the world. In 1760, the Industrial Revolution began in England. Humans learned to burn coal and make steam engines. For the first time, we were not limited by muscle power. We could make factories, trains, and later electricity. The population exploded, fertilizer from air, which feeds half the world today. In 1945, we split the atom and built weapons that could destroy us. In 1969, we left Earth and walked on the Moon. In 1991, we built the World Wide Web and connected every human mind together. And here we are. 13.8 billion years after the beginning, you are a collection of stardust that woke up and started thinking about itself. Your atoms were made in stars that died billions of years ago. Your DNA is 4 billion years of survival written in code. Your history is not just your family. It is the history of bacteria, fish, dinosaurs, and apes. The universe is still expanding. The sun will burn for another 5 billion years. Earth has been here for 4.6 billion years. Humans have been here for 300,000. That is less than 1/100th of 1% of Earth's history. We are new, and we have no idea how long we get. So what will you do with your tiny slice of time in the history of the entire world?